Triton Chapter 2, Catch and Release by Maria de Los Angeles, Virgen.
Dreaming sequence. The wind shifted. I felt it before I heard anything, an electric pulse that rolled across the waves like the ocean's heartbeat changing rhythm. One moment the tide was calm, lapping gently against the pier behind Barney's pub. The next, the water seemed to inhale sharply, as if bracing for something ancient and heavy. My tears dripped into the sand. I whispered, barely audible, "Take away my sadness." And the ocean answered. The water churned, foamed, rose. Then a shape broke the surface. At first I thought it was a dolphin or a type of adventurous octopus, until the moonlight hit his skin. It shimmered like a wet pearl freshly birthed from Aphrodite's clam, neither mortal nor entirely real. His long dark hair draped down his chest in wet curls like waves themselves. Each strand carried with a quiet intelligence, as though the sea itself moved through him. As he walked with two alabaster-strong legs having dissolved its tail and gills, he seemed to call to me. He took one long breath through his nose, then looked directly at me while he exhaled. Instinctively, I knew his name. Theorin, I whispered out loud. His eyes were soft, too soft, like the eyes of a Pisces. But behind that innocence, there was something else, a depth, a sliver of darkness, something old enough to frighten even the moon. He stepped toward me, bare feet sinking into wet sand, and when he spoke, his voice was a mixture of wind, tide, and thunder rolling in the distance.
Selene.
And in that moment, in my dream, we stood side by side, as if we had known each other all our lives. The morning after the voice visited me, the house felt different. Not haunted, just claimed. As if someone had stepped inside while I slept and rearranged the very air, leaving the faint scent of salt clinging to the walls. Every shadow felt sharpened. Every beam of light filtered through the glass as if the sea itself had crept in and settled beneath the floorboards. I woke slowly, like the surf pulling back from a cold morning shore. My hair was tangled, heavy with moisture, as though I'd been outside in the storm all night. The shell still lay on my nightstand, pale and innocent, but when I reached for it, the faint hum beneath my fingertips made my skin prickle.
Selene.
It didn't speak now, not audibly, but I could feel something coiled inside it, power maybe, or maybe just remnants of something left over from my dream. Magic isn't real, Selene, I told myself. The fireplace crackled weakly, fighting the dampness that clung to the house. Grey morning light seeped through the window, turning the walls the colour of oyster flesh. I wrapped a shawl around my shoulders and padded barefoot into the kitchen. Everything ordinary. Yet nothing felt ordinary anymore. My tea tasted salty. The drafty kitchen didn't feel quite as cold. My breath seemed to echo as if I was inside one of this island's many literal caves. My own heartbeat felt mirrored somehow. "Ah!" I said out loud as a sharp ring came sharply to my left ear. Tinnitus. I thought to myself, all this stress is giving me high blood pressure. Maybe. Selene, you're too old for liquor. No more partying, I said to myself, giggling. After breakfast, I grabbed my paintbrushes, my stand, and a huge piece of canvas. I felt inspired. About what exactly I didn't know, but in all good faith, I knew it would come to me as soon as I pulled out my brushes. As far as I was concerned, My paintbrushes were the only form of magic I knew, my personal wands. I walked down to the rocky pier, yes, the same one that had rose to my knees days ago, and plopped down. Standing before the canvas, I let everything spill out. The ache behind my ribs, the longing I swallowed whole, the dreams I never spoke aloud, the anger, the rejection, the hope. Each brushstroke felt like a breath released, a confession whispered into colour. When blues bled into whites and dark strokes carved waves across the canvas, I felt free, lighter, almost cleansed. The world made more sense in paint than it ever did in words. In those moments, I wasn't a neglected wife or a lonely woman staring at a wild sea. I was a vessel for something raw and beautiful, and creation itself became the only place where my heart didn't feel too heavy for my chest, at least for a little while. Then the memory of last night clung to me like a second skin, a man's breath against my neck, a whisper older than language, a command wrapped in gentleness.
Don't turn around.
He had said to me that one night, as if turning would have revealed something I was not ready to see. Maybe I hadn't dreamed it at all, I wondered to myself. I stood staring at the ocean around me. It was vast, filled with creatures I had never even seen. Till this day, scientists haven't even touched on the different types of deep sea monsters down there in the abyss. Could there really be a type of sea monster like the one I saw? One that could speak? A merman? The waves rolled in and out in a slow, steady rhythm, as though following something breathing beneath them. The same strange pull from last night tugged at me again, soft but insistent. Not now, I whispered to the sea as though it might listen. But the sea never listened. It only ever offers a reflection, just like the moon who controlled the tides. Mama, I whispered up towards the low moon that was barely starting to materialize in the twilight. I am named after my mother, Selene, and like the old goddess of the moon, I've taken to speaking to the moon ever since Mama died, like she had requested of me on her deathbed.
When you see the moon, know I am there with you. I will never leave you or abandon you. I'm just hidden for a little while, like the new moon in a shadow.
She had told me. Mama, what do I do about Matthew? I don't even know if I love him anymore. He broke his vow to me. Should I leave? But tonight the moon was also silent. My mother was also Catholic, and I know what she would say. Honor your vows like God above honors his. Never give your word unless you plan to keep them. I sighed. I don't think my mother would want me to be unhappy, but, if anything, I must remain true to my word. But if he leaves me, well then, that is different. Till death do us part, I said aloud to the sea and watched as the waves crashed around me on the stones and coral reef. It was getting chilly. I headed home and heated myself near the fire. A sharp rap on the front door startled me. I flinched and splashed hot chamomile tea down my pajamas. I rushed to the door. A flicker of hope made me wonder if it was the man from my dream.
Selene,
Bailey's voice rang through the drizzle.
are you alive in there?
Muttered Bailey before I could reach the door. It wasn't him. Surprise, surprise. I'm losing it for sure. I let her in. She tumbled through the doorway, scarf soaked, blonde hair plastered to her cheeks.
You look pale.
She said bluntly, wringing water into my entryway.
Did you sleep at all? Or did you cry yourself barren?
Oh, hush, I muttered, though the answer was probably both. I was just down by the pier painting. I said, motioning to my wet canvas. She stepped closer, peering at my face with that art museum micro-expression analysis thing she was frighteningly good at.
You look like you saw a ghost,
she whispered. I opened my mouth to scoff, but a memory flashed. The breath against my ear, the low hum vibrating through my bones, the way the room had shifted. Maybe I did, I murmured before I could stop myself. Bailey blinked.
Darling, are you all right?
I paused for a second. How could I explain something I myself didn't quite understand? The ocean's whispering, the merman in the water, the dream that felt like a memory, the feeling of being touched when I was alone.
He hasn't called, has he?
Said Bailey with emotional overtones. Oh, him, yes, that's right, my husband. That guy. I sharpened my eyes, realizing again that no, he has yet to call. No, he hasn't, I said, flustered. How could I have already forgotten about my husband? Well, I suppose he forgot about me first.
Get dressed,
she declared.
We're going for a walk, rain or no rain.
Before I could argue, she was already rummaging through my coat closet like she owned the place. While she fussed, looking for something weatherproof and warm, I stole a glance out the window. Down the hill, near the beach, stood old man Padraig beside his houseboat, still immobile, pipe in hand, staring straight at my window as though he'd been waiting for me to appear. Our eyes met, and his lips moved around the pipe.
He's here,
he mouthed and pointed towards the ocean. A chill slid down my spine. Then he lifted 2 fingers to his brow, half salute, half warning, and turned toward the tide. Before I could call out to him to mind his own business, Bailey clapped her hands.
Selene, move your ass!
I tore my gaze away from the window, heart thudding, and slammed the curtains shut. Yes, Mom, I gestured. As we stepped outside, the breeze carried the familiar scent of sea and storm, but beneath it, a presence threaded like a hidden note, a hum, soft, bone deep, calling.
What are we going to do about this man of yours?
Bailey said, disrupting my disassociation.
Earth to Selene,
Bailey stated jokingly. Then she went on again and on again. Plans of sabotage, murder, missing appendages. I replied with yes and laughter, but my head wasn't here. We circled around, then came back to my house. Bailey said her goodbyes and was about to leave when she caught a glimpse of my painting.
Bring that with you tomorrow. I think Baron Glen will be there,
she said, winking.
He always loved your paintings.
I half gasped. He did? Oh, what? I said, surprised, but she was already out the door. Baron Glen was a frequent flyer at the art exhibits at the museum Bailey and I volunteer at. He loved my paintings? A smile crept over my face. I said out loud. I never thought they were a hit with anyone. I took a couple of steps back to re-examine my creation. Dark clouds roiled above the horizon like bruises spreading across the sky, vast and heavy, threatening to break open at any moment. The ocean reflected them, a mirrored beast of steel and shadow, churning with a violence I could feel deep in my ribcage. Each wave rose and fell like a giant exhaling, ancient, indifferent, alive. The lighthouse in the distance cut through the gloom, its beams sweeping slow and steady across the storm-dark sea. Fannered head, standing tall, defiant, its voice a silent promise.
You are not lost, not anymore, my queen,
was the message it spoke to me in my mind. Its light flickered across the water like a heartbeat, painting quicksilver across the waves. In the corner of the beach laid sand that twinkled with the lights of Faned Head. It was missing just one thing. On the sand, I added a large conch shell, like the one I owned. It glowed luminously as if by its own golden light that mired the remnant hue of twilight above the dark clouds. I could almost hear its hum, its voice as I painted. Inside the shell, the colours burst alive in pink, opals, and blues. If the lighthouse is hope, I said out loud, then this conch shell is a calling. The next couple of days flew by. I did take my painting to the art gala and it did sell for a hefty amount of money I was not expecting. Bailey and I once again celebrated at the pub. We were becoming regulars. I was slowly feeling confidence re-enter my soul.
To Baron Glen and his money.
We toasted like two scallywag wenches on a pirate's boat. Tonight all drinks were on me. The next day I went to the bank and deposited it all into a new bank account in my name only. I decided to make another quick trip. I grabbed my coat, my keys, and my half-finished thermos of chamomilla and left the small bank before I could talk myself out of it. I needed to go to the one place that had guided me these last weeks. The one thing that had kept me tethered to hope when everything else felt like sinking sand. Faned Head Lighthouse, my muse, my beacon, my reminder that a single light in the darkness could keep a soul alive. Just thinking about going there made me tingle with excitement. The road wound along the cliffs in long, sweeping curves, the wind hurling itself against the car like it wanted to push me back home. But I drove until the land turned to jagged stone and the lighthouse appeared, tall, white, watching the wild sea with an ancient, mournful patience. Only today, something was wrong. The parking lot was empty. The visitor centre, dark, no tourists, no guides, even the gulls were gone. A strange stillness hung over the place, like the world had deliberately stepped aside to make room for something else. I stepped out of the car, pulling my coat tighter as the wind tore through me. The lighthouse towered ahead, its lantern room dim. Abandoned, it seemed, except it wasn't. Some deep instinct told me it wasn't. The hairs on my arms lifted. I walked along the cliff path until the sea opened wide before me, grey and restless, gulping at the rocks below. My heart beat faster. This place felt like standing at the edge of a memory. And then I saw him. A man stepped out from behind the lighthouse tower, as though the building itself had birthed him. He was tall, beautiful in a raw, unsettling way. His skin was pale, not white, but moonlit, glowing faintly against the darkening sky. His hair was black, wavy, moving with the wind like strands of spilled ink, and his eyes, black, not brown or hazel or even deep blue, black as the abyss, black as the cavern in my dream, black as the sea monster's eyes that swam near the rocky pier. My stomach dropped. My breath vanished as my brain tried to make sense of all this. He walked toward me with a quiet confidence, the wind doing nothing to slow him. He didn't blink, didn't smile, didn't pretend to be human.
Selene,
He said, his voice rolling through the air like a soft wave against the shore. I froze. My name felt different in his mouth. Older, claimed. He stopped only a few steps away. Up close, he was even more breathtaking and terrifying. His face was sculpted with the precision of old marble statues, every angle sharp yet strangely gentle. He extended a hand, but it was only a formality. He knew my name as if we had met before.
I am Kieran,
He said.
My arrival was foretold.
I stared at his hand, unable to move. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. But my dream, the whisper in my bedroom, the man beneath the pier, they had the same voice, the same name. And all these thoughts converged in that one moment. He was real, the man from my dream. Finally, I lifted my hand to meet his. The instant our skin touched, a shiver exploded up my arm. Not cold, not heat, but something alive, something ancient. I gasped and snatched my hand back. His expression flickered, hurt, then frustration, then as quick as lightning it was back to the cold, expressionless face I had first seen. I nearly missed it. But it was there, a shadow crossing his face. When I looked at his hand again, I saw it. His skin was peeling. Thin flakes of a pale opalescent sheen clung to his palm and fell slowly to the ground like shards of shell. The white layer beneath cracked, revealing warmer, human-like skin just underneath. Was his alabaster face also a mask? Is that why he appeared cold and expressionless? My heart hammered. I had seen this in my dream. On the pier, the peeling skin of a sea creature forced to walk on land. "You're not," I whispered, my throat tight. "You're not human." He didn't deny it.
No.
He said.
Pardon my skin. My natural outer protection is falling away. I should be fully human passing within a couple of days.
He took a step closer.
At least the parts of me others will see.
I blushed. He was referring to the parts that weren't normal. An evil little smile crept upon his face and I felt myself blush all over. I was speechless.
I am here,
he said softly.
to answer the ocean's promise.
What promise? I breathed.
The promise sealed by your tears.
His eyes softened, just slightly, dark water parting to reveal something like a sad dream.
You gave them freely, the ocean accepted, and so I am here.
His voice deepened.
I am to be your new husband.
I recoiled. What? No, I'm married. This is insane. You can't just...
I know you are married, Selene.
He said, jaw tightening.
I know his name is Matthew Keene, and that you have given an oath to be his wife.
The way he said Matthew's name made ice crawl through my veins. You? You've watched me? I asked in shock.
I have listened.
He corrected.
The sea told me what I needed to know. You found my conch shell. It had been missing for eons, or maybe I should say, it found you.
He paused for a second, as if he were about to say more, but changed his mind. I stepped back, heart racing, senses screaming. Could he really hear me through a shell? You can't be here. You're not real. This isn't happening, I said. His eyes darkened, a storm shifting behind them, but he didn't advance. Instead, his voice dropped to a near whisper.
I, too, know a thing or two about oaths.
The lighthouse beam flickered behind him, pale and thready through the fog.
That is why I am here, Selene Moretti.
He said softly but firmly.
You gave the ocean your tears, and soon I will come to collect.
He said, not fearfully or demanding, but in a calm and sensual way that made me realize he spoke the truth. My breath broke out of me in a gasp. I stumbled backward, nearly slipping on the slick stones. Then I ran past the lighthouse tower, past the empty visitor center, down the path to the car. I didn't look back, but I felt him watching me like a pull deep in my spine, like a hook made of water. He had snared me in his net, and soon he will come to collect. It's true, I felt it. The drive home blurred into grey and rain, my hands shaking around the wheel. I didn't want to go home. The thought of the empty villa made my stomach twist. Yet I couldn't admit, not to myself, not to anyone, that some part of me feared leaving the lighthouse more than staying. I wasn't crazy, he was real. He was a merman. Old man Padraig wasn't a raving lunatic after all. Padraig! I have to see him. Quickly, I spun around and headed straight towards that old man's home on the water. He has a lot of explaining to do. The houseboat rocked gently against the docks, creaking like old bones settling into place. Smoke drifted from a crooked tin chimney, the scent of peat and salt mixing in the air. I hesitated at the gangplank, wrapping my coat tighter around myself. The fog hung low, swallowing the world in grey. Padraig's lantern glowed warm in the window. I knocked.
Come in, lass.
He called, like he'd been waiting. Inside, the tiny space was cluttered. Nets, jars of dried herbs, old photos, and strings of shells hanging from low beams. A small pellet stove crackled in the corner, radiating blessed warmth.
Sit yourself down there by the fire,
Padraig said, waving a shaky hand toward a patched armchair.
You look like a banshee who caught her echo.
I didn't argue. My bones felt cold, too cold. I eased into the chair, warming my fingers near the stove. Padraig watched me with that one keen eye, pipe clamped between yellowed teeth.
You're here for answers,
He said, not asked. Yes, I whispered. You know something about them, about him. Padraig let out a long breath, leaning back in his creaking chair.
Aye, I know too much, if you ask me.
His gaze drifted to the window, where the sea loomed beyond the clouds.
Long before you were born, I had me own brush with the folk of the sea. Not mermaids, mind ye, but selkies.
I've heard the word, I murmured, in stories.
Aye, stories.
He chuckled darkly.
Except mine ain't no tale.
He laughed loudly, startling me.
Ha! I've been waiting to tell that joke, so I have.
I exhaled, praying for patience. He tapped his pipe against a rusty tin, embers falling like tiny sparks.
I was a younger man then. Handsome, dumb as a boot, proud as any fisherman. One morning I cast me nets out too far north. That's when I caught her, a great silver seal, thrashing and crying like a woman in pain.
His voice softened.
I hauled her aboard, and when she looked at me, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I knew she weren't no beast, eyes like a woman, soul like the sea.
His throat tightened and he swallowed hard before speaking again.
When she shed her seal skin on me deck, standing before me like a queen of the tide, I lost me heart to her right then. I took the fur, hid it, didn't burn it, couldn't. I loved her too much to destroy what she was.
My breath hitched. And she stayed with you?
Aye,
He said softly.
that is her custom. She became me wife, gave me two fine wee bairns, dark hair, eyes like storm water, best years of me life.
His face collapsed inward, aged by grief.
But a selkie woman, she's never truly yours, not unless you hold her fur. One day I came back from fishing and the house was empty. She had found her sealskin. She took me children and went back to the deep.
Tears filled his eyes, real ones that I had not expected from a story that seemed too otherworldly. He wiped them away with the back of his hand.
I've been searching ever since, not to force them back, mind, just to know they're alive and well.
I swallowed, my throat tight. I'm sorry for you, wife and kids, Patrick, I said, sipping on my tea. That's why he lingers by the ocean. He is looking for his family. I thought to myself, he made more sense to me now. Padraig, what does this have to do with Siaran? He is not a selkie, I don't think. He gave a bitter snort.
Merfolk ain't selkies, no. They're something older, wilder. They don't leave their mates. Not ever. They bond for life, heart and soul. That happens when a woman gives her tears to the ocean, you know?
He leaned forward, voice low.
And if a merman, God save us, tastes your tears, he claims you as his wife, and he'll not stop till he has you.
I flinched. I didn't agree to anything. I told him I'm married.
Aye, and that's the trouble.
Padraig's gaze was grave.
Mermaids and mermen, they respect oaths more than humans ever did. They can't break them, not unless death breaks it first. Till death do ye part. They take heed quite literally.
I slid down my spine. He said he'd come to collect. What does that mean? I am not a mermaid. I cannot live in the water, I said, shaking my head, half laughing from exasperation and bewilderment. Padraig hesitated, jaw working.
It means he'll try to kill your husband, lass.
My breath shattered. No, Matthew may be complicated, but I don't want him hurt. I made vows to a natural death, not murder. Padraig sighed heavily.
Don't make no mathertahi, lass. None at all.
I was on the verge of tears.
Selene, listen to me now. Mermen make fine husbands, loyal, loving, gentle as lambs with their wives. They'll die for ye, kill for ye, cherish ye more than any human man ever could. Accept your fate, you'll live a better life this way.
I stood abruptly. Padraig, stop. My husband may have broken his vow to me, but I cannot do the same. I am not built like him. I have morals, I said, feeling as if I was on the verge of collapse. He studied me for a long moment, gaze softening with pity.
Aye, stubborn as a mule, ye are.
I stepped closer, heart pounding. Tell me how to protect him.
Selene, why not listen to an old man's advice?
Padraig, please, I insisted. Padraig's shoulders slumped. He turned, rummaging through a wooden chest until he pulled out a small iron talisman on a fraying leather cord. It was shaped like a cross mixed with a knot, ancient, protective.
This'll turn a merman's magic, drive him back if he comes too close. Iron burns him, same as the Fae. Keep it on your husband at all times.
I reached for it, but Padraig held tight, eyes swimming with regret.
I'm giving ye this against me better judgment, he muttered, for it's my belief the seamen would treat ye better than any human ever could. And if he tells me, wife, I gave this to you, she may never return. At least give me hope in me last days, lass.
I ripped it from his hand. Thank you, I whispered. I will not tell anyone where I got it from. But I couldn't quite meet his gaze. I didn't want to hurt the merman either. The pull, his voice, his eyes called to my soul the way no man had ever. A small part of me wanted to listen to Padraig, but this darn moral compass had an even stronger hold over me. Without another word, I fled the houseboat, the talisman clutched tight in my fist. The dock swayed beneath my feet, the sea whispering below as if amused by my desperation. I didn't look back at him either, but I felt Padraig's sorrowful gaze following me through the fog, and somewhere deep beneath the waves, something stirred in answer to my confusion, as if it understood my dilemma. The emotion it stirred in me was something, not quite anything I could understand. When I opened the door to the house, the lights were already on. Matt's suitcase lay open on the floor, and on the couch, legs crossed, tie loosened, wine glass in hand, sat Matthew. He looked up at me, unimpressed.
Well, look who finally came home.
He said dryly. My heart dropped into my stomach. Tears formed in my eyes. Kieran's words rang through the back of my mind like a siren.
Soon I will come to collect.